chaser. He gives the people a voice and empowers you with a choice. She gives you straight talk, no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. She provides a platform of growth and gives the dying people hope. She gives you straight talk, no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser.
Welcome to the Straight No Chaser Show on intellectualradio.com and iHeart Radio Station. This is your host, Rhea Ray Harris, and I am so grateful to be with everyone this evening. This is my birthday week, so I have not partied the whole month like some people have, but for this special show, I am actually featuring some ladies that do something that's very important to me, which is fashion. So to my direct left, I am a little, I have to put my hands out to see left and right. I have Miss Delcia Norwood of Love Dia Couture and Fashion.
Hi.
Hello. To her left is Kaylin Kennedy of Kathy Lynn's Boutique. Yes. And then to her left is Shamika Buckner of Kyoko Linden.
Correct.
How's everyone doing this evening?
Good. Well, how are you?
Thank you so much for being guests on the Straight No Chaser Show. Now, for my Chicagoland people, we always have to ask, exactly where are you from? Because they love to know where people are from, where they went to school and all that. Mm-hmm. So where are you from and where did you attend school?
I'm from the West Side. This is Delcia. I'm from the West Side originally, and I actually went to high school at Whitney Young, and now I kind of rep the South Side.
Oh, see, you're a trader.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So they're going to get you on the trader roll.
I know. I have to just claim it and hold it close to my heart.
I'm not mad. Kaylin, where are you from?
I'm from the suburbs of Detroit, Southfield, Michigan. And I attended, do you want to do high school or college? Does it matter?
All of that. Well,
I went to IDT in downtown Chicago for bachelor's in fashion design.
Okay, and my cousins lived in Southfield years ago. We used to visit them all the time, so I'm very familiar with that. Okay. And Miss Shamika?
West Side. And I attended Prosser Vocational High School. Then I went to Columbia and got my degree in graphic design. And then I went to Illinois Institute of Art to get fashion.
Now, I remember being young, having what was then called Christie dolls, because Barbie was the white doll and Christie was the black one. So I had the Christie dolls and having my own little fashion shows, and we had the little paper dolls and you would make little stuff for them. How did each of you decide to get into the world of fashion?
I actually got started with my grandmother. My grandmother started trying to teach me to sew clothes for my dolls when I was probably about first grade. She said Barbie's clothes was too expensive and she could buy my clothes for that price. So I was
we had to work something else out.
Right. So she had me making Barbie clothes out of dried out baby wipes. And
wow.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. So after that, I then ended up taking classes when I went to high school and in college and kind of learning more about how to put clothes together and the proper way to design. But really, I got started with my grandmother.
All right.
I got started with my mom. Her mom, her sister, they've all been seamstresses. My mom used to make her and her brother suits like in the middle of the night for no reason. So as a young girl, my mom would show me how to like crochet, and then she showed me how to hand sew my own things. And then when I was able to use her sewing machine, then she showed me how to like make my own clothes. And then it got to the point where for prom, I was like, Mom, you know what? You showed me so much. Like, why don't we just make my own prom dress? And from that point on, I was like, okay, I know exactly where I'm about to go. I'm going straight for fashion school.
Shamika?
Well, I guess I'm the oddball because I didn't have any background of fashion with my family or anything. But my desires was when I watched the television and I saw people doing a runway with lights and cameras and action, and I was like, I want to do that. I wanted the drilling like they have. So that's how I did.
Okay. Now, when I look at the red carpet, so to speak, and they do all the, the best and the worst and all this and that, which I find to be interesting. I don't always agree, but when you thought about your career as a fashion designer, what to you was going to be the pinnacle? Was it to be on the red carpet for the Emmys, or what was your big vision picture when you thought about it?
For me, my big picture is being able to walk down the street and seeing women walk past me with my clothes on.
Not too many, girl. Not too many. I can't have my clothes walk past me as a purchaser.
But you know what? All of my pieces are limited edition. So
okay.
Even like
All
now,
right.
where there's a certain number of pieces that are already out, I still have not had the experience of walking past somebody as they were wearing my clothes.
Okay.
Like, I think that's the coolest thing in the world, and I'm waiting on that.
All right.
Originally, I wanted to kind of be like the first. I wanted to kind of be like the first, woman of color to have like a couture line that was well known. But right now, I just want to have my main goal is to just have a boutique where I can also give my clothes out to the community, and then other designers who don't have that opportunity can give their clothes out. Like that's.
When you say give your clothes out, tell me what you mean.
That is true. Let me specify
because
that.
If we are giving clothes, I will be there.
Right, exactly. I'm sorry. I mean buying my clothes, but also sharing my style with the community. I think that's what I mean. It's giving to the.
Okay, Shamika.
Well, my ultimate goal is to have at least one dress on the red carpet.
So you where I am with the red carpet.
I want that with all my heart. Just let my name to be out there, and then once it get out there, I know it would pick up, and I know it would people would grasp towards it.
Okay. Now, for people that don't really know some of the things I do when I'm not here, I am a fan of Project Runway. And Heidi is okay, that's fine, but I'm actually a fan more so of Tim Gunn.
I love Tim Gunn.
Just love it. And I also watched the All Stars. So, what's the name? Lisa Milano was okay, but I actually am not tuning in for the celebrities that are there. I'm tuning in for the actual fashions. Do we have a local equivalent to Project Runway here? No?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not exactly. I know there was Kenmore had what was the name of it? So You Think You Want to Be a Designer? And I think it was very similar to that, where it was this competition show, right? But I'm not sure that there is anything on that scale, at least not that I'm aware of.
Even if it's not necessarily on that scale, because that's a pretty big situation that they have there. And this is, I think, season like 16 or something. But what I've always noticed as an adult is Chicago is always this quote unquote second city, and that's not a good thing to me. Mm-hmm. So when it came time for everything, be it music, be it fashion, we are always second or third. Why is that here?
I think it's a perception thing. Like I've also told this to a lot of designers. I don't think that Chicago is second. I think that we are a world-class city when it comes to art, food, fashion. I mean, you name it, we got it, and we can be the best at it. But when the word Chicago is put in front of it, oftentimes the perception of us as a city overshadows the talent that is here. We have so many great, just example designers. We have so many excellent designers who create really reachable and approachable and innovative collections, but being able to get those pieces and those collections out where people can see them is extremely difficult here. I think that's really what stops us from moving to a level of like LA or New York, or at this point even Italy, where Antwerp or Milan, where those names, people go, oh, fashion. In Chicago, it's like, oh, we got fashion here. You know, people just don't know.
Let me present this to you. When you do a business, and this is a business,
Mhm.
there's a business plan, or there should be, let's say.
Mhm.
When you look at the business plan for your fashion design line, your boutique, etc., what are you looking at as far as the setup cost? Let's just talk the straight out the gate expenses, because a lot of what I think people don't get is, yes, you may be an excellent designer.
Mhm.
Yes, you may sew, you know, to the point where you can cut someone with your creases, but there are fabrics that are $50 a yard
Yes.
That is
More.
true.
and more.
Mhm.
So
And
when you're
more.
looking at a startup budget, because that's part of what when I look at Project Runway, when they get to the end and are about to do that last big show in front of everyone, was it New York Fashion Week?
Mm-hmm.
And they give them this money, etc., to buy this fabric, and you're going, okay, that's not some chump change.
Yeah.
And they still are negotiating with that. What are the expenses that you would incur to be a fashion designer?
Do any of you guys want to answer that first? Because you know I'm gonna have a lot to say.
Oh my gosh, it's like so much. I mean, besides like fabric, notions,
What are notions for people that don't know? I mean,
Thank you.
we
No,
do this
good.
for lay people.
that is, yeah, like zippers, buttons,
Hooks and
eyes,
Interfacing.
interfacing, thread, needles, depending on, you know, what type of fabric you're using. If it's medium, heavyweight, that depends on the type of, you know, materials you'll use also. And that's just supplies alone. Like for me, like how I said, I wanted to do a boutique, you know, tables, cash registers, employees, like it's so much that goes into being a fashion designer overall, in my opinion.
I think that's one of the reasons too, or the main reason. I think that's the major reason why it's so difficult for designers to get started here. And like, obviously, we're all participating in the Amalgamation Fashion Show,
Which we're going to talk about a little
right?
later.
But most of the designers don't have something like that. So they're coming out of pocket before they ever even get to a storefront, just trying to get photos and video and paying models and paying makeup artists. And you're talking about coming out of school with maybe $115,000 worth of debt. And now you're trying to figure out how you're going to come up with another, you know, whatever, $8,000 just to get your portfolio and get your first show going, to reach the, you know, the audience. And it can be very expensive, and it can be a huge barrier.
Now, you just said something that excited me. You said portfolio. So when you got out of school, because when I watched, because they just started Project Runway, you know, last week, and they had to bring samples of their work.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like maybe 6 pieces, I want to say. So it was like a mini collection.
Capsule collection.
And tell me the term.
Capsule collection.
Okay, so a capsule collection means an encapsulated, smaller version of a regular collection. See,
Exactly.
we're going to teach somebody something today. Fashion is not just looking good. You have to know some things.
Exactly.
Yes.
When you come out of school and you want to be seen as a designer, so you're talking about designing your clothes. Do all of you make your own patterns, or are you sewing freehand?
Yes, we make our own patterns.
Yeah.
Everyone makes their own patterns. So
Mhm.
you're talking about designing the patterns,
Mm-hmm.
making the actual clothing. Is everyone actually sewing all their own clothing?
Yes.
Then getting the models that best represent each particular look,
Mm-hmm.
getting a makeup artist that brings the look that you want to those looks,
Mhm.
as far as her face and how her face is made up, as well as hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then having a photographer and perhaps a set,
Mm-hmm.
which is also a cost.
Mhm.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And that's, you know, shoes, jewelry, accessories, like to complete the looks. Like
Yeah.
it's so much money.
Okay, now besides, we're going to get into what each of your genres are.
Okay.
But besides your particular genre for clothing, do any of you design anything else? I know I had met a designer a while ago who also designed the jewelry to match her outfits because she felt like there was a particular message that she wanted to get out that she could only convey as far as the overall look. Do you all strictly deal with the clothing, or do you expand it beyond that for yourselves to design?
Well, I expand beyond clothing. So sometimes when I do a fashion show, I sometimes design the earrings, the purse to go along with it as well.
Yeah, same here. I do like turbans, hair wraps sometimes, and tote bags also to go on my clothes.
I have my Afro Girl line of handbags, the clutches, backpacks, and tote bags that I carry.
And so those you incorporate into your looks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about the industry in Chicago, because I know Black Fashion Week is it this week or is it next week?
I think Latino Fashion Week is coming up.
Yeah.
Latino Fashion Week is
Black
coming up.
Fashion Week comes up again in February.
Okay.
January.
Now, I'm not trying to be funny, but why do we have a Black Fashion Week, a Latino Fashion Week, and I assume a quote unquote mainstream fashion week? Is there a reason that this is broken down like this?
Yeah. From what I've seen, I don't know if it's like this outside of Chicago, but we know Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the world. And trying to be involved in a lot of the major or mainstream, quote unquote, fashion shows, you will see that there's not a lot of people of color that are represented. We're competing against other people who are presenting all the same story that all one type of person can relate to. So as opposed to constantly trying to break in and saying, let me in, I have a story to tell too. What you've got are producers who finally said, you know what, forget it. We're going to tell our stories on our own terms. And so you end up with things like Black Fashion Week, Latino Fashion Week, and so on and so forth.
Okay. When we come back, I have a few more questions on the Straight No Chaser show about fashion, Chicago, how to make it work. We'll be right back on intellectualradio.com and iHeart Radio station. We are back on the Straight No Chaser show. This is your girl, Rhea Ray Harris, and I am with my designers of the evening for my birthday week, Delcia Norwood, Kaylin Kennedy, and Shamika Buckner. How are we still here? We still hanging in?
Yes.
All right. What I want to know is because, as I've said on the break, I see a lot of boutiques, but when I deal with boutiques that are owned by people of color, they're typically limited to either hardcore African fabrics and styling. I'm going to the club to try to meet my husband tonight, and I'm gonna get as short as I can, as tight as I can, and as low as I can in the front and in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And very rarely do I see anything else. I know there is Essential Elements on East 87th Street.
Mhm.
And oh, excuse me, and I shall go to church every week.
That's what I
Boutique,
was saying in
the
my
church
head.
boutique,
Yep.
where I'm like, that suit looks like it weighs 1,000,000 tons in rhinestones alone. And I'm a rhinestone person, but really, this is too much.
Yeah.
So those are only three I really see in general. How do you, with a different type of vision, get that out there? Firstly, tell our viewers and listeners, what is your genre in fashion? And then how do you get that seen?
I'm gonna let y'all go first because mine's weird.
Go ahead, Shanika.
Okay, so I deal with full figure fashion, and basically mine is word of mouth. So if I've designed something for an individual, they'll just go by word of mouth, and then that's how I spread mine. And I have had mine in boutiques as well, but more by word of mouth.
So when you do sales, it's perhaps at a showing, do you do parties at people's homes?
No, it's just I go to the boutique like this is my clothing line. Could you put it in your store?
Okay, like a
And
commission?
yes, and then
Okay.
that's how we do it like that. And like I said, mostly it's by word of mouth.
Okay, Kaylin.
I also do plus size, full figure clothes, more like ready to wear. I get that out through Etsy.com and also through the fashion shows that I do.
Delcia.
Okay, so
See, you already have us geared up. Okay, what
Well,
is this
because
going to be?
I have what my dad calls an avant-garde idea of my line. My tagline: I sell limited edition, ready-to-wear clothing and accessories for women, with an emphasis on Black culture. Most things have an emphasis on natural hair culture. So, like, my graphics that I use, and the hippie Afro girl, like we're super
Afro
curvy
punk.
and super not even Afro punk. She's just got this
Afro
this
chic.
really, I would call it Afro chic. And
Okay.
like you see really big afros everywhere. I don't use like straight Ankara fabrics, but I will use bold colors and graphics that kind of nod back towards different African prints, so that I kind of want to recognize that specific experience of African American in my fashion.
Now, I have seen an influx, if you will, of pop-up boutiques
Mm-hmm.
for everything from hair care to, just any kind of thing. Do you all feel that for what you're doing, that's an appropriate way to show your clothing? Because, depending on how you feel about that happening determines if you want to use it or not as exposure.
I personally love it. I think
Yeah.
that it's a really great way to get introduced to new markets without that cost of, we don't want to go into every city and spend $20,000 a month to open up a whole new boutique. So being able to go and do pop-up shops in existing spaces and be able to cross promote, especially if you have a boutique that's in a location that needs more
Traffic.
but also more diversity in what they're offering, especially when we're going to like smaller cities. Like I'll go to Central Illinois a couple times a year and they don't have what we have here. So being able to go there, it really breeds some excitement for that boutique, and it helps me to reach new markets.
Mm-hmm.
So for the fashion show that's coming up, tell everyone firstly, who are the sponsors and what should they expect to see in all the details about that.
Okay. The fashion show that's coming up is the Amalgamation Fashion Show, and that's a production of Love Dia Couture. We were producing the show every year to recognize Chicago Fashion Week. We create a platform for new and independent designers and boutiques to introduce to the market and meet new clients, and also network and get new resources for their businesses to kind of grow. It also gives them a platform to reach media. So we welcomed about 250 people every year. We're looking to do the same thing this year, October 8th at Little Black Pearl in Hyde Park. We are welcoming we were sponsored this year by Verdi, Carriage House Imports, Verdi brand sparkling wines. And we also have Empire Beauty Schools, and who else do we have? Lip Fetish Cosmetics. So everything that we're doing in the show is built to support Chicago industry. We are recognizing Chicago music artists in our soundtrack, all Chicago models and Chicago-based designers on the runway, all the way down to our cosmetics manufacturer. You'll see all Lip Fetish Cosmetics on our models on the runway.
For your accessories that you don't make, are there any particular boutiques you use for that, or shoe designers or nail techs or anything?
For the accessories, it kind of depends. We try to highlight the vendors from our small business market. So there's about a dozen vendors that are going to be selling different accessories and hair care, makeup, things like that in our small business market. I know that we're definitely promoting Saram Jewels on our runway this year. She's an online boutique. She tends to do Facebook, but Miss Gail, everybody knows her.
Yes,
she
I
has
do.
Awesome pieces. Everybody knows Miss Gail.
She markets.
Yes, she does.
All day and night. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to take another brief break. We're going to come back, and I'm going to do my money moment with H. Cortez, who was here last week live in the studio, and that was just so awesome. And then we are going to have a small taste of what they're going to see on October 8th. So hold on to your chairs. We're going to be back on the Straight No Chaser show on intellectualradio.com.
I'm my Straight No Chaser family. It's your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial Health Mentor to the Working Class, coming to you with tonight's Money Moments. Tonight we're going to talk about education. There's 3 types of education that you need to survive in this country or even in this world. But there's one type that you need more than others if you're going to actually thrive in this world. The first type of education that you're going to need is your basic scholastic education. Everybody knows that you need to learn how to read, write, need to know how to do basic mathematics, understand physics, right? Some basic things about physics, knowing, how gravity works is important, right? So you need that basic level of education. Then there is your vocational education. That is more of your specialized education. So if you're an attorney, then your educational focus will specialize in the area of law, right? Attorneys have their own language. If you're an electrician, that's a specialized area of education that is tied to your ability to make money or your vocation or your job. And those are needed to basically survive in this country. But if you want to thrive in this country, then you're going to need a financial education. Most of our decisions from day to day are some way or somehow rooted in finances. Kanye West said it best when he said, not having money or having money is not everything, not having it is. Who thinks about money more, wealthy people or poor people? See, a wealthy person can decide to go out and eat, and they go out to eat. The restaurant that they go eat at doesn't matter. The prices on the menu doesn't matter, and things of that nature. A poor or working class person will have to think about income or their money when they decide where to eat, how much to eat, how often to eat, the prices on the menu. So you think about money more when you don't have it. So financial education is very needed, but it's something that's not taught in school. So we want to encourage you to pick up a book, go to a seminar, listen to a podcast or a YouTube video to start acquiring the financial education that you need to not only survive, but to also thrive. And if you're the type of person that needs to be immersed in a program to get you there, then I'm offering my financial success membership to the Straight No Chaser audience tonight only for a startup cost of $70. It's normally $120. So for $70, you can start the program, then $35 a month, and we will help you get that financial education. So I'm your main man, H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. Text your name and the word Straight No Chaser to 314-874-6887, and we can get you in the program at that discount. Until I talk to you in next week's Money Moments, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. Peace.
And when we come back, we are going to have a fashion show here on the Straight No Chaser show on intellectualradio.com.
It's straight talk with no chaser. He gives the people a voice, empowers you with a choice. She gives you straight talk with no chaser. 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 She provides a platform of growth and gives a dying people hope. She gives you straight.
My dear, oh yeah, lady, my dear. Love with you, my
jackets. I do a lot of separates and a couple of dresses also. Something cute that you can wear over anything, like a dress or romper she has on.
exactly why I fell in love.
All right.
Oh baby,
And this model is?
the way
This
you
is
walk,
Tracy.
the
She's
way
wearing
you
one of
talk,
my dresses. I call it my faux dress.
and I'm thinking I just wanna let you know, baby, I
This is
just
really
wanna
where I feel leggings or authentic
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why I'm simply
lady,
cute.
my dear. Love with you, my dear.
And whose model is this?
This is Jessica. She's wearing actually one of a kind custom, not customs, formals out of my collection. So this is one of the cutout dresses, the T-strap bag.
What's wrong with me? Now put in work, love you when you're hurting, girl. Even if
And
it takes a while.
That's my model,
I wanna be
Cedrica.
that
She's wearing our
one
polka dot
that
long
knows
skirt with the high
that
slit on the side and the lace top. Our separate.
my dear. Oh yeah, lady, my dear.
Absolutely beautiful. Give yourself a round of applause. So now when we think about business development and that desire to, like you were saying, be on the red carpet, have your own boutique, walk past your clothes, walking past you on someone else while you're outside, how do you get from where you are today to that vision? Is that a 5-year plan? Is that a 1-year plan?
You want me to
Go ahead.
In my personal opinion, I believe it's going to be a 5-year plan or maybe sooner. My goal is to keep focused and to just keep producing good work, keep getting it out there, networking, and it will come to pass.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I mean, I feel the same way, I guess. Like I think it can be a 5-year or it can be sooner. I wouldn't want it to be any more than 5 years. Like as long as you hustle and, show what you got and promote yourself as much as possible, like anything is possible.
I think the cool thing about our industry in particular is that it can be a 5-year plan, and it could also be a 5-minute miracle, because it really, at any point, one picture on Instagram blows up and all of a sudden your 5-year plan just got condensed down into a week. So I think we plan on just, okay, next year I'm going to do this many events and I'm going to reach this many people. And that's as much as we can really plan out. And we're hoping that one of them things we does just turns over that 5-minute miracle.
Now, so people who have just seen the wonderful fashions, and somebody, because I don't want you, don't inbox me asking about how to get in touch with these ladies, please. Nothing personal, but they're going to tell you right now, how do they reach you? And if by chance someone says, you know what, I want to have a pop-up boutique at my house, if you're amenable to that, also include that in your information.
I do pop-ups and home parties a lot. People can reach me at www.lovedeacouture.com. I'm going to spell that, though. It's LOVEDIACOUTURE.com.
No phone number?
773-466-4DIA.
And you all can reach me at Kathy Lynn Boutique. That's Kathy with a K. .com. You can also reach me at 312-340-8425.
And with Shamika, with Kyoko Linden, that's www.KIYOKOLINDEN.com, and all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, what else? Snapchat, Periscope, and I could be reached at 773-991-8316.
Ladies, I thank you so much for bringing your fashions out. And how do they get tickets to the fashion show?
All the tickets are available at www.lovedeacouture.com by clicking the link. And if they use my name as the code Delcia, DELCIA, they get $10 off all levels until Thursday.
That's this Thursday, the 22nd, which is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
So, for those of you who don't remember anything, I'll say, Ria's birthday, I got to get that ticket discount. Thank you. Thank you. So, after the fashion show, I hope to see you next year. We're going to talk about how far we've gotten. Sure. And what was the lady's name that she was having such a hard time finding a designer for her. She was in the
Leslie
Ghostbusters.
Jones.
Leslie Jones.
And I reached out to her.
Next
We
year, she
were
gonna be reaching
there.
out to
We
you.
were there on that.
Right.
And if you all remember Christian, my goodness, who was from Project Runway.
Christian Siriano.
Yeah.
Because Payless emailed me and he has a shoe line there. And I'm like, see, don't get caught up in it has to be Uber couture all the time.
Right.
Because he was a really great couture designer, but he designed some really nice looking shoes for Payless.
Yep.
So you want your art to get out there, but I would like for you to also get paid.
Mhm.
So
So what do we?
if there's someone who has a bigger business and a vision that matches, you know how to get in touch with these young ladies, and they will be out more than this fashion show because Black Fashion Week in the spring, you all will definitely be there. All right. Well, thank you again. This is your host, Rhea Ray Harris, and we are signing off for this evening. Dedicate yourself to the truth, no matter the cost. I'll see you next week. Peace and blessings in the name of Jesus, everyone.
It's straight talk with no chaser. It gives the people a voice, empowers you with a choice. She gives you straight talk, no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. She provides a platform of growth and gives the dying people hope. She gives you straight talk, no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser. Straight talk with no chaser.